Hey guys, it's Molly. I'm here in the test kitchen, and today on Frosted, we're gonna be making a lemon mousse cake. What I love about this cake is that it is soft and tender with a really rich lemon flavor and a really light meringue frosting. This method of mixing a cake is called the reverse cream method, and what you do is you mix your fat, which in this case is the butter, into your dry ingredients so that it's nice and evenly coated, which makes this cake develop less gluten, which results in a softer, tender crumb, which is exactly what we're looking for here. We are also using cake flour, which is finely milled flour, and that's going to give us a really nice rise in our cake. What we're looking for here is the texture of coarse cornmeal. So we're gonna let this roll for a few minutes, and then we'll move on to our wet ingredients. And lastly, what's gonna make this extra delicious is the zest of 1 lemon. And I'm gonna divide the batter between both these pans. I'm just going to do this by eye, but if you feel more comfortable, you can use a scale. And this batter is very loose, so it's just going to spread itself out. This smells delicious. Love the way the vanilla beans and the lemon zest look in this cake. So here we go. We have our cakes. Throw these in the oven, bake them, cool them, and then I'll show you how to make the mousse. In a saucepan, you're going to add your egg yolks, your sugar, your lemon juice, and lastly, a lot of lemon zest. We're looking for this to thicken, and the way you can tell if your curd is thick enough is when it coats the back of the spoon. Citrus curds are great on their own, but because we're using this as a cake filling, we want it to be sturdy enough so that it doesn't leak out of the layers. So we're adding gelatin to keep it a little firm. Our gelatin has melted, and now we are going to add in some butter, and the butter is going to just make this really rich and delicious. And just stir this together until all the butter is melted. Strain it through a fine mesh sieve. We want to get rid of the zest, but also any little lumps of gelatin that might have escaped us. Squeeze every last bit of liquid out of here. It is so precious. To store this, you want to put a piece of plastic directly onto this curd. You don't want it to form a skin here, and the way you prevent that is by putting it directly on top of it. Okay, into the fridge while we whip our cream. Right here I have some whipped cream. First I'm just going to stir this up and kind of break it up a little bit. I always like to start with a little bit that I call the sacrifice before you start folding in the rest of it. Okay, so now that I've kind of broken that down, I can add the rest of my cream here. And then now I'm going to fold it in. You don't want to lose a lot of this volume. So you're just continuing to fold under to over, scraping the sides of the bowl. Okay, so once you don't see any cream, you're done. This needs to go back in the fridge again to chill while we slice our cake layers. We're gonna start by putting one of our bottom layers down here, and then we're gonna use about a cup of mousse, and then we're gonna spread it to the edge here. And despite having gelatin in it, this is actually a very light, creamy mousse, and it holds really well in this layer cake, so you're not gonna have any trouble slicing it when it comes time to serve. And you wanna go about all the way to the edge. And just remember here, we are not striving for perfection, we are striving for beautiful. The last layer I like to put on upside down so that you have a really nice flat top to work with. And you can take your offset and smooth out a little bit. Let's get this in the fridge while we make our meringue. It's a simple Swiss meringue, so I've got some egg whites in here. I'm gonna put a healthy pinch of salt lots of sugar. And I'm gonna give this a nice whisk just to combine it here. Okay, so it's going on top of what we call a double boiler. And what we're looking for here is just to heat this enough so that the egg whites and the sugar become a nice, smooth, silky mixture. To test to see if you are done, you want to rub some of this in between your fingers, and if it's smooth, you're ready. And if you still feel sugar granules, you have a little bit more to go. You're going to whip this at high speed until it gets nice and stiff and glossy. Okay, look at this. This is beautiful, stiff, glossy peaks, exactly what we're looking for. Now we're gonna add vanilla extract for flavoring, white vinegar, and the acid in the vinegar is gonna help stabilize this meringue. And then lastly, we have some cornstarch, which is gonna absorb any extra moisture that might exist. Give this a little mix. So here we have our cake. It's been chilling in the fridge while we've made our meringue. We're gonna cover this cake in about 1/2 inch of meringue on the tops and sides before I show you how to pipe the beautiful finished product that we're gonna have here. When I'm doing something like this, I like to start at the top and then bring the frosting down the sides. Meringue just glides on so beautifully. So silky and soft and just a real pleasure to work with. Sometimes you don't need all that extra butter. So at this point, we're just looking for even coverage. We're going to be piping over all of this, so don't spend too much time worrying about anything besides making it even. So once I finish my sides, I just pull from the sides back into the center on the top. Get myself a nice round edge here. And one last time around the sides. Okay, this looks great. I'm gonna get this in the fridge while I put the rest of my meringue in some piping bags, and we're gonna finish this up. Okay guys, we are almost done with this cake. As you can see, I've mounted my cake onto a smaller cake pan, but you can use a plastic container, a bowl upside down, anything that's gonna give you height, because we are gonna need to get underneath here as we pipe this. Any way that feels right to you is gonna be beautiful, but the way I'm going to do this here is a little unique, and it's gonna start by putting pressure on the top, lifting up so that you get kind of like a nice round ball, and then pulling it down on an angle. I think you'll have a better idea once I show you. So you're gonna start by pressing. You want a lot of pressure here. You want a nice height. You're gonna swing it down on an angle. So then you're gonna just shift it over, same movement, and down. Let your previous pipe guide the next one. Spatula and run it along the bottom of the cake, scraping any excess off. This is such a unique and beautiful way to pipe a cake. You don't really see it that often. It's not that hard, and with a little practice, it can be something that you put into your repertoire. Okay, so now my favorite part, the blowtorch. I'm gonna start on top here lightly, go around. So we've got the top here, and you can see that when you blowtorch it, it kind of expands and it gives it even more volume, and it really defines the line. So now we're gonna go around the sides with the same thing. We could stop here, but why would we? We're going to fill the top with some beautiful raspberries or any fruit of your choice to give it a really nice big pop of color. Build a nice mound, very organically. This cake is so beautiful that you almost don't want to cut into it, except you have to if you want to eat it. So we're going to cut into this and show you how beautiful the inside is.